Yo, what's up, No Niche? What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Hope all are well. Hope that y'all doing. Y'all know it's on a late night tip, and sometimes I'll come on No Niche later than I would any other time. And so I just got a notification that we're actually on. That's funny. Well, at least I'm getting notifications, y'all. Glad about that. Glad that I'm getting notifications. Excuse me for a second, y'all. Sorry. Um, yeah, all right, cool. It's the way I can actually see. Bomb. All right, cool. So let me know where you're calling in from, and um, hopefully where you're tuning in from, not calling in from, tuning in from. And as you can see, the topic and the title, how to keep your happiness. And it's important. I think everybody should know how to keep their happiness because sometimes life can throw people for a loop. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I've been asked so many different questions today, in my business in Elevate Circle, Donald, how do I keep, happiness and maintain my mindset to think positive about the stuff that, I'm trying to endeavor. By the way, let me know what you're drinking tonight. I am drinking Pepsi, as you can see, but I want to be more professional with y'all. At least I know no niche is my no niche. This is where I don't have to worry about, any of the, you know, being so cordial and stuff like that. This is where I break all the rules, and I really don't care too much about the views and stuff like that. But I want for everybody, what I'm saying, to be able to come in and just be comfortable and just relax. Excuse my background. I know I have a lot of wires and stuff back here. I'm just, doing some new stuff and everything like that. And before I leave here, I've been here all day basically, just looking. Um, let me see. Um, I want to make sure that I can put. Oh, Gray Frames. What's up, Gray Frames? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. I want to see if I want to put. Let me see on the show. Okay, what's up, Gray Frames? Good to see you, bro. All right, I want you all to see on the screen that there are people who are, are actually coming in and stuff like that. But yeah, so listen. So many people are asking me about, the happiness and stuff like that. What about this? What about that? And I think that the reason why so many people, and I want to answer the question first, they asked me about what they're doing. So the question I have for you is, what are you doing? And how excited are you about what it is that you are doing? Let me set up a little bit more. How excited are you about what it is that you're doing? That's the second question. How excited are you about what it is that you're doing? Whatever it is that you're trying to endeavor, is it a passion? Is it a hobby? Is it something that's on the whim? Is it something that you are sort of like taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall and see what sticks? Whatever, what is it? What is it that you like to do? I won't even go but so far to ask you, what kind of people are you looking to reach and stuff like that, like as if you were a YouTuber or whatever the case would be. But I want to ask you, what is it that you love to do? What is it that you are trying to endeavor? What is that you're trying to do make you feel? And I want to take something that Mr. Sean Candle said, and I've been saying it for so long, it's become me. And that is, whatever you do, I think you should pick everything that you love over what you like, because no matter what it's going to take in order for you to get there, because you love it, won't feel like an obstacle when it's time for you to figure out certain things that may come your way about what you're trying to endeavor, if that make any sense. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, I want you to know that anything that you love, I think that the best thing that anybody could do is write stuff down. You know what I'm saying? Write stuff down. Write it down, because people don't really understand, and I'm still talking to myself about the power of planning, you know, and I don't mean planning something bad, but the power of having a notepad, and actually writing stuff down and say, listen, this is what I plan to do tomorrow. This is how I plan to do it. Now, you might have some bump holes or potholes in the road, whatever the case be. You may have some, pushback from maybe something that you didn't see coming. You know what I'm saying? You might get a little obstacle that might come. I'm putting my book away, y'all. Sorry, but you might get a little obstacle that might come and might sort of like disturb a little bit of the agenda. But you have to determine, does it require my attention now? for me to not follow all of my plan, or could it wait? Because if it could wait, then it's not an interruption at all. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that was the more proper word. You might have interruptions, not obstacles of out on the road, but you might have more interruptions every now and again, you know? But rather interruptions coming or not, at least, at the very least, you have a plan and you have something to work with. And that's the point, you know? Because see, when you have a plan and you have something to work with, what happens? Then when that plan is fulfilled within that day, then you have something to celebrate, you know? So what else does, you know, planning do for us? First of all, it makes me aware of everything that I'm going to do during the day and everything that I must achieve. Number two, I could modify the duration of my day, you know, depending upon, well, if you have a secular job and stuff like that, then maybe you might have a 9 to 5, right? But then you might have also a 5 to 9 of something that you're trying to endeavor that will take place around that time from 5 to 9. Shouldn't go above 9 o'clock because you still have to rest and get some sleep for your 9 to 5. You feel what I'm saying? So again, you think about it. That's the power of planning. So many people are walking in the day without a plan, and that's the reason why they can't end their day. You know, so that's the first thing. You know, number one, I have a plan because I know what I'm going to be doing. Number two, the modifying of that day. You know, what time do I want to end my day? You feel what I'm saying? What am I going to do? How am I going to end my day? What does that look like? Well, it depends on the stuff that you want to do within that particular day and on your list. You know, I oftentimes say, besides having your 9 to 5, we know that that's automatic. But when you have your 5 to 9, you know, you could modify that. Well, from at least 6:30 to about 8:30, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And the rest of that half hour, I'm going to take some more time out for me to unwind, you know, settle down, whatever the case may be, and then go to get some rest, you know. And obviously, for those of you who have children, that might look like a little bit different. You might have to modify a little bit more and maybe pick another day other than work a full shift on your 5 to 9 for you to fulfill what it is that you want to fulfill. You know, you might want to pick a Saturday day that you're off, but prepare on that Friday night. So everything that you would do on a Saturday, you might want to just, you know, sort of knock it down. My 5 to 9 is going to be, I'm taking care of clothes today, which is Thursday. I'm going to take care of, you know, dinner or groceries or whatever the case would be, so that Friday comes, I'm doing what I have to do. Now Saturday, I have the whole day to myself to take care of what I couldn't take care of during my 9 to 5 because I did certain things and I just cut things down into certain portions. You feel what I'm saying? Today, we're talking about how do you keep your happiness, and rather, you know, not even though it might seem like that you're going, I'm off track. I'm not off track. I'm telling you, I know exactly what it's going to take. And the thing is it's going to start with your day. It's going to start with modifying your day. It's going to start with your calendar and planning. Let me know where you're tuning in from, for those of you who are ghosting me at the same time. But again, that's exactly what it's all about. Now, so let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's say sometimes, you know, things don't always go according to plan. You know, nothing wrong with you, but you're trying to keep, you know, your happiness. That's why I'm telling you, anything that you want to work on, anything that you want to endeavor, pick the things that you love over the things that you like. Because if you pick the things that you love, you will not, I promise, you will not have a problem with any obstacle that come your way, because you're going to fall in love with whatever it takes to get to where you go or where you want to go, because you love what you do. And when you love what you do, it's not a job. But sometimes you get bumps in the road. Sometimes you get interruptions. Sometimes, you know, you get things that you just never expected, you know, and it represents this. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, you know, although this is no niche, I want to show you something that I share with Elevate Circle, you know, and this is the business that I do have. Let's say, for an example, you got this key. Somebody will sit there and tell you, take this key and please open this door. You know, you open the door, everything's okay. Why? Because number one, you know exactly how to use the key. I'm not inserting nobody's intelligence, and you know how a key to use to the door. Wherever the key is, that's you're gonna, you know how to open it, and when you open it, you're gonna go through it. You know how to use the key. You know exactly how to use the key in the door. Feel me? And let's just say, for example, you know, you are very sure of that key because number one, it's your key. But what happens if somebody else, you know, ask you, like somebody that's very, very important to you, like your supervisor or your boss or someone you love in your family? You know, there's so many people who deal with anxiety. And my point today is, how do you keep your happiness? Because before I go take a step further, I want you to know that so many people cause other people to have anxieties on them, you know, and some people, they battle with a lot of anxieties. And that's what we do in Elevate Circle. You know, we help people who fight and battle with existential anxiety. There's so many different anxieties out there, but something that's existential is something that people will put a danger on the present moment in time, you know? So it's like, well, if I drink this, what if somebody poisoned it? You know, you're thinking about and you're catastrophizing, you know, things that does not exist. I mean, possible, yes, but might not exist to you. You're on your fourth cup and you're talking about you worried about you getting poisoned. But anyway, again, but that's an existential moment, you know, where people overthink, they second guess certain things, and they think that they create something to happen that's not there. So let's say, for an example, and let me tell you what this looked like. Let's say if somebody else that it's important that asks you to open this door, you know about opening the door because you use keys every single day. But what happens if this happened? You go to open the door with the key and you get denied. You know, now obviously anybody who I can't say is regular, but those of them who are not overthinkers, those of them who got this in the nutshell to say, you know what, I'm not gonna let this bother me. I'm gonna just go back and tell homie, I think that this is the wrong key, you know. But anybody who battle with existential anxiety will keep fighting at the door of the key that doesn't work in that particular door, or the key that doesn't give you access to that door. They will sit there and blame themselves by saying, if this person gave me the key to this door and they were sure that this door will open to this key and it doesn't open, then the problem must be me. Feel me? And that's exactly how people who have existential anxiety react. You know, they don't get off right away to say, well, let me go ask this person, because when you are overthinker, you start to think 1,000 things. Number one, well, they said that the door was going to open, but so if it doesn't open, it's me. Or what if I take the key back to them, they come to the same door that I use, that they use every day, and they actually open the door? You know, how will I feel doing that? How would I feel if that were to take place? So instead of them taking the key back, you know, they rather continue to fight the door to open, and they're not getting through, and that is stuck. And there's so many people who are stuck the same way. And let's take a look. When you're stuck in your mind, when you get to this particular point where you're stuck at a door, now metaphorically, it might not be a literal door to a key. Understand what I'm saying? Your door might be something else. Your door might be the loss of a job. Your door might be the loss of a relationship. Your door might be, oh, you fell in love with somebody and now they're no longer there. You broke it off with them, or whatever the case may be, or they broke it off with you. Your door might be, oh my God, you know, they might be firing me at my department because my department at my job might be shutting down. I don't have any type of control over it, you know? Or it might not be anything at all except the stuff that you make up in your mind by overthinking. And so what happens when you're frustrated, what takes place is that your mind sometimes go right into search mode. And today I know, no niche, I'm always talking junk and stuff like that, but I want to give you a teaching moment. Maybe there's some people, and I'm not pitching you a sale. I just want to show you this because I wanted to show this for conversation. I love to talk to people. So you see that your mind is stuck. Where is it stuck? At that particular door. What does that door represent? I'm not too sure. You know what your door represents. But let me tell you what happens. What takes place in your mind is that when you start to search, you're searching for something in your mind that will bring you back to the place of the person you were before you've experienced the door. Feel what I'm saying? You're searching for something inside of your mind that could replace the thing that you have experienced so that you can come back to the person you once were before you had the door experience. You see what I'm saying? So your mind, it go on the search mode. And sometimes when your mind go to search mode, what does it do? It go to Google, it start to scroll, you know, go to social media to see if it can type in anybody who's stuck at whatever their door moment is, whatever that might represent, you know. And then all of a sudden you start to go and get advice from other people. You feel what I'm saying? Your mind is still stuck. You go to get advice from other people, and you're now trying to sort of like sort out the opinions that you're getting to see what best suit your situation, to say that maybe they have the solution to my situation because they're the ones who are as close to what is it I'm feeling at the same time. You know what happens when it comes down to, your mind searching, and you get to this particular point because it's trying to get to that particular individual that you were before you experienced whatever you experienced. Your mind no longer search for just, outside things, but your mind, while searching, can sometimes feel like it's being productive in its search. When in all reality, if you're not getting the solution upon your search, and you're not strategically, looking at something that's going to help you, or looking or searching strategically for something that's going to get you your solution, you're going to feel extra frustrated, because although your search felt productive, if you didn't get any answers, now that just added on to what you've had before you started search. You feel what I'm saying? And so your mind is simply just searching for the person that you were before you've experienced, that chaos that got you to where you were. So then what happens in this particular moment? Think about it. Oh goodness, I don't know why my slide, I don't know. My slide, for some reason, y'all, it seems like that oh, I get it. Okay. Excuse me for a second, y'all. Yeah, because my Wi-Fi has been acting up a little bit, and I'm like, why is my Wi-Fi? And I hope that you all are still on, because sometimes that'll drive me crazy. Like, oh my goodness, now that the Wi-Fi is not, now I lost my stream. But like I said, sometimes your mind feels productive in its search, but it's frustrated because it's fear dressed up in frustration, or disguised in frustration, because you're searching and you're searching and you're searching, and you're searching to the point that it's really not helping you at all. And all you want is to be helped, basically, I'm trying to find out why in the world is my Wi-Fi acting up like this, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with this Wi-Fi stuff, Can somebody help me? Anybody out there in chat land? Let me know why this Wi-Fi stuff always acting up, y'all. I don't know. I can't call it. And okay, I'm gonna have to switch something real quick. So you feel productive, but really you're frustrated, and that's what happens. You're frustrated, and sometimes it's kind of hard when you're frustrated to get back to a particular place of where you once were before you've had your experiences. You feel what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It is crazy. Now let me see if I can find this other one here that I could sort of like let me see. Hopefully, I think it's coming back through, y'all. Well, the net is here. I have the internet here. That's why I'm like, I don't understand why this is acting up on me now. All right. So, but let me just say, I'll say it, while I'm going through it. So sometimes, like, people, they don't really understand. And again, because I'm in, I guess I can teach it, right? They don't really understand the different terminologies to use, when they are facing anxiety. Because sometimes most of us, especially where I come from, I lived in the Reddick projects, and sometimes anxiety was so often that we were no longer scared of anxiety. We called anxiety survival. So if you go to, anybody in my neighborhood, you might ask them, listen, do you suffer with anxiety? They understand the word, they understand even the meaning, but for some reason, sometimes they won't apply it to themselves because we never called it, anxiety. We called it survival. That's exactly what we called it, And let me see here. I wanted to see if I could get, I'm trying to refresh my page. And let me just say this, y'all. I'm so very, very happy because I have I don't know what to call her yet. I don't know what to call her, I've gone down the list as to the different positions that I have for Elevate Circle. And when this young lady hit me up and said, listen, I mean, I would love to, assist you. I said to myself, you know what? I want you to assist me too, because she's amazing. She's awesome. She's somebody that I have been, speaking to for a little while about, not even about Elevate Circle, but just about stuff that she's doing. I talked about stuff that I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, and when we spoke, I was like, yo, I think the time is now, I think the time is now. So I'm glad to know that Mrs. Kim Kirk, she's going to be one of my assistants or my associates, whatever the case may be, to help me out with Elevate Circle. You'll be seeing her very, very soon, So yeah, so like I said, we know about being stuck at the door. What is your stuck at the door moment think? I'm glad that my Wi-Fi is back up. So let's take a look at what it makes you feel. Now, like I said, where I come from, we used to call anxiety survival. But let me tell you some of the symptoms of what anxiety actually is. When you feel sad about being stuck at your door, because that's what it'll make you feel at the particular time, you're really feeling disconnected. You know what I'm saying? So sad is something that people don't like to admit. Yo, I'm feeling sad. I feel really, really sad. But rather, for lack of better words, you feel disconnected. So if you feel disconnected from something, will make you feel sad. Also, when you feel scared, a lot of people don't say, I feel scared. A lot of people, they're not really saying that, but at the same time, they feel restless. When you're feeling restless, it's because you have a concern. There's a concern on you. There's something going wrong. There's something happening, and you may not be able to have even a name for it. You may not even know exactly how to call it, but these are the things that you sometimes feel. What else do we feel sometimes? Broken. But for other words, we'll say stuck. You might feel disconnected, restless, and stuck, when in all reality, you feel sad, scared, and broken. And don't nobody want to ever admit those particular things, because that's what your door experience can bring you, I'm so thirsty, everybody. I'm so sorry. So unprofessional of me. So this is what I wrote. You internalize a dose of self-blame, because that's exactly what we do sometimes. We can blame ourselves for being stuck at a door, even when we lack the access, when you were never really designed to fix that particular door in the first place. So let me ask you a question. What's your stuck at the door moment? Because anybody who really, battle with existential anxiety, you put a danger on that particular experience to say, oh, I'm inadequate. I don't feel good. I don't feel like I'm good enough. And see, that's the other thing too I want to talk to you about. Sometimes when you feel disconnected, restless, and stuck, these are some of the things that your stuck at the door moment might make you feel. But just because you can't open a particular door doesn't mean that it's the equivalent of your self-worth. When you find yourself being stuck at a door, it's a particular result. If it doesn't work the first time, not working is a result. It has nothing to do with self-worth. You feel what I'm saying? Although it might make you feel disconnected, restless, and stuck. Essentially, you're really sad, scared, and broken. So at the end of the day, you're not supposed to fix certain things that are not fixable. So stop blaming yourself or equating something that did not work in life to your self-worth. You're not, that doesn't mean that that's how you are. So think about it. When you feel like you're broken and stuck, the only thing that you're trying to do, your mind is trying to get back to the person that he was or she was before they've experienced their door stuck moment. Because that's what you call existential anxiety. That's when the anxiety come in. You know what existential is? Existential is when somebody put a danger to something, Oh, I don't want to walk out the building. So if I walk out the building, the brick might fall on my head, and you come up with this. It's called catastrophizing, essentially. Start to catastrophize and you start to put a danger on your present moment and make stuff up in your mind that doesn't even exist or probably wouldn't even ever happen. Possible? Probably. But does it mean it's going to happen? Not realistically. But sometimes things can happen. Why? Because at the end of the day, you're conjuring up these particular things. And this is the reason why I came up with this thing called Elevate Circle. Elevate Circle is a place where people will get a chance to gain clarity, and not clutter. There I help people not feel better, but become better at feeling. Let me tell you, for this past week and this past month, I have been putting exercise to the curriculum that I teach every single day, because I've learned some people can place upon you existential anxiety without you even knowing it. If somebody came to you to tell you, well, I got to tell you something, and they just leave you open, right? If you don't know you and you're not able to have any control over your mind, and you don't know how to sort of block out that particular portion, because now you make that person so important over the whole globe. You make what they say so important over the whole globe. Do you not know you have not met people on this globe that is going to be for what it is that you need for them to be, whatever that might mean? They might be in the same boat as you. They might be in the same niche. They might have the same interests as you, and that's the reason why when I came across the young lady, her name is Kim Kirk, I was like, wow, no, because I remember her as a school teacher. I've seen stuff that she's doing. I've seen stuff that she's working at. It is nothing less than amazing. What's up, y'all on TV land? I see y'all. I'm not going to call your name. I know you are. But at the same time, even though I watched her grow, but I watched how she could articulate. I watched how she could, she can present, so I'm very, very excited. We just sealed the deal today, and I was like, wow, I had a great, great long meeting with her. It was nothing less than phenomenal. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm so, so excited to have an extended version of my business called Elevate Circle. And that's why no niche, y'all going to always hear me talk about stuff that I can't talk about on my other platforms, because those are niche down. This is no niche. I'm trying to share with you. Listen, a lot of times people feel that their self-worth is in the result and what happened when it came down to an event. Let's say you started the relationship and it didn't work. If the relationship didn't work, doesn't mean that both of you are less worthy or you don't have value. It's just that it just did not work. Let's say you tried your business. You only tried your business out for two months. And then you try to give up because you're like, oh, I don't see no traction. Let me tell you what the key is to starting a business. Save your money first, or save money first. That would give you traction enough. And in other words, you'll have a cushion to be able to stand on if things are not moving as fast as you expect it to. Understand what I'm saying? So when you give yourself some ample time, some ample money, to say, listen, I don't have to go back to work for another 2 years because I've saved this up to be able to do this, that even if the traction or the retention doesn't happen right away, I believe in it that it's going to happen. I just need to give it some time. And it's only been 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, and now you're trying to quit. And now you're trying to put your own self-worth on the very thing that happened to be the result of an event that you tried versus not try again. I don't know no 2-week-old baby, you know what I'm saying, that would get up and say, oh, because I can't walk, I'm not going to walk. I don't know no 2-month baby, you know what I'm saying? 2-month-old baby. Come on, y'all. Come on. I don't know. When a baby get up and try to walk, they fall on their little hiney. Then they get up again. When they fall the first time, they don't make up in their mind, I don't think walking is for me. You have to give your business and what it is that you believe in, right, a chance. Okay, let's say you're paying for certain programs to keep your business up. I know what it is to just barely pay for certain stuff because money did not come in, or money were not coming in, or money didn't, you know what I'm saying? So at the same time, you have to trust the process and give yourself some time. Trust the process. Give yourself ample time. When you become impatient, and I want to talk about that word impatience. It's something else I've learned this week about the word impatient. When you are impatient, you can rush yourself out of the best opportunities that you've ever had. You feel what I'm saying? You can cut stuff early, way before you are supposed to. You can step into stuff too early, way before it's supposed to. You feel what I'm saying? And so now The get back is, oh, I got to start all over. I have to reset my mind. And every time that you reset your mind, you think you're going to have to start over from where you left from the beginning. No, but it's about taking from where you left off, because you don't have to learn, to level 101 when you're at level 110. You just take it from 110 and do better at 110 to get to the level 111 and then level 112, So again, stop comparing your self-worth to something that didn't happen. Let me tell you this. Stop comparing your self-worth to people who are not too fond of you. Stop comparing your self-worth to people who might not even like you. You can't reach everybody. If you try to reach everybody, you're going to wind up reaching nobody. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be a nobody, trying to tell everybody about something that can help people, So stop equating yourself and stop allowing for people to rent out space in your mind. Just because it didn't work, that doesn't speak to your self-worth. Just because people walk away doesn't mean that it's your self-worth. There are other people out there that you haven't met that's for you. There is a percentage of this globe of people that you're going to meet. Do you not know that you've been sitting there all that time, sitting in one space, sitting in one area, sitting in one state, sitting in one state, one time? You haven't met people. You haven't gone no place to meet nobody. Do you not know that your next move could be the next state? Could you know that your next move could be the next borough or next city? But if you stay in one place, you're sitting there thinking that it's going to fall in your lap. And then now, because, and you're sitting there as long as you did because of what happened to you last time. And now it made you afraid to move again. That's also anxiety. You feel what I'm saying? That's the reason why I came up with Elevate Circle, because I knew that it was going to help people. It's a 5-step system, by the way. I want to share with you that it's a 5-step system. We help out with people with anxiety, where their mind is searching for clarity, because that's what we specialize in. You have what they call, search mode, which is step 2. I came up with this myself. Discovering where your thoughts actually come from. We got the RRP mode, replace all the thoughts that hurt you, and you determine what thoughts will stay, but you're learning about that because that's where your transformation is going to be. And then you got stage number 4, edit stage, where you're removing thoughts that don't belong there, and you can remove the thoughts that don't belong where it is, just like you can remove people. How? You replace them. You have to replace it with something that makes you excited. We're talking about, how do I keep my happiness, right? How do you keep happiness? And then you got the ultimate stage that when you get to this, it's probably about a year and some change, depending upon how fast you move. Matrix mode now helps you to understand that you're living a design mindset, and you're not living by default. You're living by design. That means that whatever problem that might come your way, any argument that comes your way, you are no longer a part of the argument. You're now looking in at the argument, because at the end of the day, what used to control you don't control you anymore. That's why I was so happy, y'all, that I had asked, God for, control, not over my own mind from him, but I was happy that God would give me, the kind of ability to say, no, I control what I think. I control what I take in. I control, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow. And that's the reason why you can understand the power of being by yourself. Some people have to learn how to master boredom, and I wish I could master boredom, but here's the deal. Boredom, well, productivity is not leaving me alone for me to even discover boredom, or to walk into boredom, but when you master boredom, then you know exactly what to do when it's time for you to have the time to just do nothing, Wish that was me, but at the same time. So how do I keep my happiness? I keep my happiness by gleaning from the last event, or thinking about, just like I told y'all in the beginning, you got Streamer University, right? You got Kai Cenat, who says, wait a minute, I don't know how long streaming is going to ever last, but because I'm a streamer, I'm going to keep streaming going. You got Tyra Banks, who says, I don't know how modeling is going to last, but I'm going to create something that's going to let modeling go ongoing, And then you got Kevin Hart. I don't know comedy, how long comedy is going to last, but I'm going to create a lane for comedy to last. You feel what I'm saying? So look, I hope that y'all enjoyed the presentation today. You feel what I'm saying? This your boy, No Niche, where I'm able to just talk about anything at any God-given time, because I can do that, and that's the kind of page that this is. And until later, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.